Hi, I'm Veronica Wasek, and I help Shopify sellers and their bookkeepers to set up, organize, and streamline their financial systems with confidence. In this video, I am explaining clearing accounts and why you need them for your Shopify bookkeeping. Let's go over clearing accounts and why you should be using them for your Shopify bookkeeping. E-commerce clearing accounts are used to track timing differences and deposits from payment processors. For timing differences, we need to be able to track the differences when a sale is made and when payment is received. And for deposits from payment processors, we need to be able to reconcile the sales made to the deposits received from various payment processors. And we also need to be able to account for fees deducted by those payment processors. Here's an example of the timing differences that we encounter when doing e-commerce bookkeeping. So let's take a look at day one. Day one, you have a sale in Shopify. Then let's say that on day two, PayPal, as the payment processor that you're using, processes the payment. And on day three, PayPal deposits that money into your bank account, and the deposit that is received is net of fees. So we need to set up some things in QuickBooks in order to be able to track all of this activity in a way that is streamlined and so that we don't clutter up the books. And one way to do that is to set up the chart of accounts in QuickBooks and to set up separate accounts or separate account categories for each sales channel and each payment processor. So if you're a Shopify seller, then some of the accounts that you might need to set up might be Shopify Payments Clearing, PayPal Clearing, Amazon Clearing, Affirm Clearing, and any other clearing accounts for each payment processor. If you're using A2X as a way to integrate your QuickBooks with your Shopify, then in A2X, when you're doing all of the account mapping, you'll need to make sure to map the payment gateway transactions to the specific clearing accounts. So as you can see here, we have the refunds for Shopify payments, and we're mapping that to Shopify Payments Clearing. Then we have Afterpay, and we're mapping that to Afterpay Clearing. And then for Amazon payments, we're mapping that to Shopify Amazon Pay Clearing. So as I said, each payment gateway needs to be mapped to its corresponding clearing account. Now let's discuss the clearing account workflow. When an income transaction is recorded in Shopify, either via A2X or if you're recording transactions manually, when you record that transaction, you're going to increase the clearing account as well as increasing sales income. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the specifics of how that happens. I just want you to understand the basics of how clearing accounts work. So when we record income, we're increasing the balance in the clearing account and increasing sales income. Then we receive deposits from all of the payment processors, which are net of fees. And those balances will increase the bank balance and decrease the clearing account. And then we'll need to record the fees from all of the payment processors. And when we do that, that will increase the payment processing fee expense and it will decrease the clearing account. Let's take a look at an example with numbers so that it'll make more sense. So let's say that we're working with the Affirm Clearing account and we have Shopify sales of $500. Those were net sales. We had $550 in sales minus a $50 refund. Then we received $485 from Affirm, and that was the deposit that we received from Affirm when they processed that payment. And Affirm also took a fee of $15. And so in theory, after we record all these transactions, we're increasing the Affirm clearing balance and decreasing by the amount of the deposit received and decreasing the account balance by the amount of the fee that we recorded, we end up with a zero balance. But the reality is, however, because we're dealing with hundreds of transactions, that the balance in the clearing accounts will rarely zero out. So that is the challenge that we have when we're doing Shopify bookkeeping. You have multiple clearing accounts, hundreds of transactions, balances in some of the clearing accounts that rarely clear out. And so we have to review and reconcile those accounts to make sure that everything is being recorded correctly. One thing to keep in mind also, and definitely a source of a lot of bookkeeping errors that I see, is that while you may record all of the income, you have to also know how to record the deposits correctly that you're receiving from all of the payment processors. So if you're using A2X, you need to make sure that you're matching the amounts received from Shopify payments and that you're categorizing amounts received from other payment processors to the corresponding clearing account. If you're not using A2X, then you need to make sure that you're categorizing all of the amounts received from payment processors to the corresponding clearing account. All right, so what does that look like when we're working in the bank feeds in QuickBooks Online? So if we're using A2X in the bank feeds, then we'll be able to see all of the amounts received from Shopify, and we'll want to match the transactions that were received from Shopify to the entries that were recorded from A2X. Your QuickBooks may not say match, it may say accept, but you get the idea. We're basically making sure that the amounts that were received from Shopify match up to an entry that was recorded by A2X already into your books. Then for other payment gateways, such as Affirm or Afterpay, we need to add or record those transactions to the corresponding clearing account. So for example, for Affirm, then we want to categorize these. Actually, these are for ShopPay that are processed through Affirm. So we'll need to categorize those to the corresponding clearing account that we set up for the ShopPay Affirm installment clearing account. And then for Afterpay, we'll also need to make sure that we're categorizing those to the Shopify Afterpay clearing account. So one important thing that you need to be doing if you're doing your own Shopify bookkeeping, or if you're a Shopify bookkeeper, is to reconcile and review the clearing accounts once a month. You'll need to reconcile all of the income received against what Shopify shows. You'll need to reconcile all of the deposits received from payment processors. And then you'll also need to review the accounts, review those clearing accounts for any transactions that might be miscoded, and review the balance in each of the clearing accounts for what I call reasonableness. And that means that we're looking for balances that perhaps are unexpected, or growing balances, or things that don't look right. And just keeping in mind that the balance at the end of the month for each of the clearing accounts should represent timing differences. I'm Veronica Wasek. Check the description below to learn more about all of my resources, including my free Shopify bookkeeping blueprint and the link to join my Facebook community. Also look for the link to learn more about my services to see if we might be a good fit for working together. If this content is helping you, then subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and give me a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.